Camp Snap is back with an all-new camera. This is the CS-8, a digital Super 8 video camera that's supposed to replicate the old film Super 8 cameras from back in the day when your dad used to record everything under the sun. So, really the main question of this video is the dad cam back? Welcome to the bright side. If you grew up in either the 80s, 90s, or even the 70s, chances are you knew a dad, whether it was your own or maybe one of your friends' dads, who had a camera that looked similar to this. An old school film video camera that he used to record absolutely everything with. It kind of became a meme a few decades later, deeming these types of cameras dad cameras, because dads used to use these all the time and be super obnoxious with them. My dad didn't, thankfully, but I definitely do know a couple of dads that did. Sorry, do you want to be seen in the camera? Here's your 15 seconds of fame. What would you like to say to the people? That's actually very cool of you. Thank you. So do we have a true snap? Oh, thank you. All right, truce. So now that I'm finally a dad, it's kind of the perfect timing that this thing actually came out recently. Because if I wasn't a dad and I still got this, what would that make me? A hipster, I guess? Yeah, I definitely don't want that. Way too many stereotypes there. So looking at the specs on the back of the box here, it has 2.7K video sensor, 5 different image filters. It's USB-C rechargeable, which is super nice. It has an 8 times digital zoom and different aspect ratios where you can change with a knob on the side of the camera. It has a pre-installed 4 gig memory card, which you can also upgrade that. And it's going to be f2.0 at 3.19 millimeters. So looking at the actual camera itself, you have different switches and buttons on both sides. On the left-hand side, you have 3 different knobs that you can twist. The main one being at the bottom front of the camera. It's the on and off switch. The switch behind it is where you change all of your aspect ratios. So you can either do your standard 16:9 aspect ratio, or if you want a square, perfect square, you can do a 1:1. Or if you're only shooting for Instagram, you can set it to 4:3. And finally, we have a vertical ratio being 9:16. Directly above that, above the Camp Snap 8 logo, we have a separate knob that we can use to change the different filters on the go. We'll talk more about the filters here in a little bit. And to the right of that, something super cool that I think Camp Snap did is that they went really analog with the metering. Here we have a little window with a meter telling us what our remaining storage is on the SD card. And they made it analog with this little needle that slowly moves to the left as you use more storage up. Really, really cool idea there, and I absolutely love it. Switching to the other side of the camera, on the top, you have your zoom in and out buttons. Very old school and very tactile to push, but they don't feel flimsy or anything. Moving down from that, we have another little window showing our meter for the battery level, which again, I absolutely love that idea. And I love how analog that is, with a little needle just bouncing around in there. Moving to the bottom right of this side of the camera, you'll see 3 little buttons labeled up, down, and mode. This is where you can change the timestamps and date of your metadata of your videos. Moving to the front of the camera, at the very top, you'll see Camp Snap 8 logo right there. And then below that, you have your lens, which on the front, it has the stats labeled out. And it has this little rubberized texture ring on it, but it doesn't twist or anything, so you can't use that to focus or zoom. And just under the lens, you have your little trigger button here that once you push and hold it, it'll start recording video. Something to note with this, you have to keep the button pressed down in order for it to continuously record. If you just press it and let go, it'll record like a 1-second video and then it'll be done. So remember, once you start using it, remember to push and hold the button down. On the bottom, you have your USB-C port where you can charge it and transfer videos. On the bottom, you have a place to put this on a tripod, which is actually kind of handy to have because this camera doesn't have any internal stabilization. So putting it on a tripod will definitely help stabilize the photos. And finally, on the back of the camera, you have your EVF and a little pad to cushion your cheek while you're looking through the viewfinder. The viewfinder itself, I think it's pretty decent, but it definitely makes it look a little more grainy than the footage actually is, especially since at the front here, they put a little magnifying glass, presumably to make the image larger for you to see what you're actually having in focus, but it just kind of warps it and makes the footage look not that great while you're recording it. The great thing about having an EVF is that you can see the actual filters in real time as you're recording the videos. So if you're on one filter and don't like it, you can quickly change it, make sure you like the look of it, and then you're good to go. Speaking of filters, you have 5 to choose from here. The first one being standard, which really nothing too special there, just looks like a standard digicam. The next one is Vintage 1, where you can see the colors are a little more muted and a little more grain is added. Next we have Vintage 2, which same thing, even more muted colors and more grain added. Then we have Analog, which I think is where CampSnap is getting the Super 8 title for this. Does it really look like Super 8 film? I honestly don't really think so. First, film in general is just really difficult to replicate digitally. I think we all know that Fujifilm is probably one of the best at doing that, but even with them, you can probably still spot the difference. With this, I actually think the sensor is a little too clean and a little too crisp for it to be considered a true Super 8, which Super 8 film is extremely tiny, and yes, you do have a tiny sensor with this, but I'm not sure it quite translates the same. The analog filter still looks really good though, plus it adds a pretty fun film wear and tear texture to it, which yes, you could do that in post if you wanted to anyway, but really all these filters you can recreate in post-production. Really, I think it's just the convenience factor of having the filters built into the camera so you can choose exactly what you want while you're out shooting things. And of course, the last filter, we have a standard black and white, which always looks good. Overall, the build quality of this, for $99, I'm extremely happy with this camera. Comparing it to the original CampSnap camera, which I also reviewed, that camera is made of very lightweight and cheap feeling plastic, which granted that camera was focused on being really a kid's camera that kids can take to summer camp and not worry about it getting banged up. But for this camera, the plastic does feel like it's a little better quality. It is a little heavier, not sure if it's because of just the general size or everything inside of it. Luckily, this camera has a little more weight to it and it doesn't squeak or anything like you know how cheaper plastics tend to do. There is a slight rattle to it if you shake it, but that's only because of the zoom buttons on the side here. But really for this camera being $99, there's really not a lot that I can say that's bad about this camera. It's a very fun and affordable camera that really anyone can pick up and use. Which, in true Brightside fashion, I let this camera loose to my friends at our annual Halloween party. CampSnap did a pretty good job with this camera, and I would say that it passed the vibes check. The old school styling of a Super 8 home video camera and the general ease of use of this makes this a great option for anyone to pick up and maybe take along with them while traveling or just sitting around recording home videos. And if you have a young aspiring cinematographer at home, this is the camera to get for them. You won't regret it. CampSnap does a good job at making cameras that are just fun to use, and this one is no exception. It's just pure fun. Thank you all very much for watching this video. All of these cameras and products that I review on this channel, I pay for out of pocket. None of the companies pay me to say nice things about their products or anything like that. So if you enjoy this content, please leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already, since we're almost to 1,000 subscribers, and I'm very excited for that. But thank you all very much for the support, and until next time, deuces everybody.